Desiree's Dream. Chapter 21. The Hidden Treasure. The air was thick with the anticipation of travel as the three companions, Alex, Desi, and their faithful dog, Beauregard, arrived at the bustling dockside. The sound of hooves and wagon wheels echoed, mingling with the distant cries of seagulls, a symphony of departure. Alex, quick as lightning, leaped down, his boots hitting the wooden planks with purpose. He had a mission to secure their passage on the ferry amidst the chaos of travelers and their varied modes of transport. Desi watched him weave through the crowd, his determined stride cutting through the line of waiting wagons and riders, all eager to embark on their adventures. Time seemed to stretch as they waited, but Desi's smile never wavered, especially when Beauregard's tail wagged in happy anticipation, his keen senses taking in the bustling atmosphere. Finally, Alex reappeared, his face beaming with success, tickets in hand. He joined his companions, and Desi offered him a share of her beef jerky, a savory treat, and a sip of cool water from her metal flask. They formed a circle of camaraderie, sharing food and drink, a moment of peace before the journey. A majestic sight, the steam ferry approached the dock, its chimney spewing white clouds. The wait was over in an instant as the previous travelers hurried to disembark, their wagons rolling off, making way for a new batch of adventurers. Alex, always efficient, sprang into action, preparing their wagon for boarding. He maneuvered it skillfully, following the ferry guide's instructions to a T, parking it securely beside the railing. The guide's gesture was precise, leaving no room for misinterpretation. With a gentle lurch, the ferry departed, turning right onto the Mobile River, its path leading them away from their beloved city. Desi's heart swelled with emotion as she glanced back. Once scarred by war, the town now stood proud and resilient, its towers and spires reaching skyward, a silent witness to its past struggles and current triumphs. She inhaled the salty air, rich with the scent of the bay, and settled into the journey. Her hand found Alex's hand, their fingers intertwining, and she gazed at him, her eyes soft with affection. He, focused on the map, was planning their route, each line a promise of adventure. The wind howled, whipping Desi's braided hair, which glistened with sea spray. The mist clung to her face, cooling her skin, and she welcomed the sensation, a refreshing contrast to the sun's warmth. The southeast wind, once fierce, calmed as they neared the eastern shore, and the ferry gracefully made its way to the bustling dock of Daphne. The dock bustled with activity, commerce, loading, and unloading. Full of vigor, the young men on the pier secured the ferry with the mooring lines, their muscles straining as they tied the knots, ensuring a safe arrival. Desi, ever practical, wiped the sea spray from her face and tidied her hair, preparing to disembark. Alex, equally efficient, attended to the wagon, removing the chocks and ensuring their smooth exit. As they left the ferry behind, the noon sun shone brightly, and they rode away from the dock, the sound of their horses' hoofs mingling with the fading calls of the seagulls. The sun-dappled main street of Daphne, a small settlement with moss hanging from the old oaks, welcomed Desi and Alex as they navigated through the town, their eyes scanning the quaint shops and curious onlookers. As they reached the outskirts, a majestic oak, its branches reaching the sky, beckoned them to its shade. They pulled over, the gravel crunching beneath their carriage wheels, and Desi wasted no moment in sliding over to Alex, her eyes eager and curious. Alex, a man of practical wisdom, scratched his head, his brow furrowed in concentration. The map unfolded on his lap made little sense to him. Why do we begin our quest in Daphne when the treasure's fate lies in Fort Morgan? A peculiar start, indeed. His voice carried a hint of confusion mirrored in his eyes. Desi, ever observant, leaned forward, her breath misting the ancient map. Her finger traced a path, a silent conversation with the parchment. The pirate's cunning, she whispered, her voice laced with admiration. He wanted to mislead, to ensure only the worthy found his treasure. Thus, a map leading south, a trail of clues, and an ending at Fort Morgan. Alex, understanding dawning, leaned in, his lips brushing her hair gently. My love. A journey full of surprises awaits us. His eyes sparkled with determination, a fire lit within. With renewed vigor, Alex continued, our path, as the map guides, leads us to a crossroads. There, we turn right, due south, seeking a peculiar site of a rock formation resembling a pile or perhaps hills in a mysterious circle. He pointed to the map, his finger tracing the route. And there, at that strange junction, we shall find a clue, a decision to make. A campsite, too, Desi added, her voice filled with excitement. A stone, tall and proud, with a hole through its center, like an ancient sentinel. And it reads, a French word I know well. It bids us to stop, to rest. Desi's eyes, full of determination, met Alex's, and she squeezed his arm. What an adventure, don't you agree? Desi took the map, Alex cracked the reins, and Droopy started back down the dusty road. Desi studied the map to get a better understanding of the terrain. The sun had dipped low in the sky. Desi's eyes drooped with exhaustion, but she remained silent, her gaze fixed on the road ahead, knowing their destination was near. Sensing her fatigue, Beauregard whimpered softly, his restlessness growing with each passing moment. Alex sat tall, but his movements had slowed to a crawl, his broad shoulders sagging under the weight of the journey. Desi leaned forward, her voice carrying a hint of urgency. TY intersection is just beyond that hill. We ought to see the circle stones soon. Her words trailed off, a mixture of hope and uncertainty in her eyes. Alex offered a weary smile, his fatigue evident. Hunger gnaws at me, and this wagon seat hasn't been kind to my backside. Desi's laughter filled the air, light and infectious. I believe we're all feeling the same, my friend. As the wagon crested the hill, Alex pulled on the reins, guiding the horses to the left side of the road. He stood, his tall frame rising above the wagon, scanning the landscape. Row upon row of hills stretched before them, their shapes eerily uniform, as if carved by human hands. With a determined look, Alex reached for the map, his fingers tracing the intricate lines. A nod confirmed his suspicion. Aha! There it is. He pointed at the map, where a circle of hills surrounded a mysterious figure resembling an Indian chief. The word creek was scribbled nearby. Desi took the map, her curiosity piqued. Alex maneuvered the wagon closer to one of the hills, the horse's hooves kicking up dust. Why are we stopping here? And how can you be so certain? Desi's voice held a mixture of confusion and admiration. Alex's chest puffed out with pride. Ah, Desi, I have my moments of brilliance, too. Observe. He pointed to the map with a sense of triumph. This circle of hills, the Indian figure, and the word creek. It can only mean one thing, a Creek Indian burial ground. Mark my words, behind those trees lies the stone with the fabled hole. The air was thick with anticipation as Desi and Alex reached the ancient burial ground, shrouded in mystery and intrigue. Weathered by the elements, a crude wooden sign stood as a warning to all who dared approach, a command to respect the sacred land of the Creek Indians. The ground itself seemed to buzz with a secret energy, an unseen force that drew people from far and wide. Desi's eyes sparkled with excitement as their wagon rolled to a stop. She didn't need Alex's aid, she jumped down from the wagon with a grace that belied her eagerness. Her swift movement stirred the dust, making it dance in the fading sunlight. With a gentle hand, Alex assisted Beauregard, their loyal companion, down from the wagon. His fur graying with age, the old dog patiently allowed Alex to secure him to the sturdy wagon wheel, ensuring his safety during their stay. The golden orbed sun sank lower in the sky, casting elongated shadows through the towering pines. The forest enveloped the duo, offering a sense of solitude and protection as they set up their campsite. Alex, a man of practicality, quickly assembled the tent, its canvas walls billowing slightly in the evening breeze. The tent, a gift from Joe, was a testament to their friendship and the adventures ahead. Desi, with a vision of domesticity, carefully arranged their evening meal. The scent of day-old bread mingled with the tangy aroma of cheese. She laid out the provisions on the newspaper, the black and white print contrasting with the vibrant hues of the food. A soft, well-worn blanket was spread upon the grass, creating a cozy dining area beneath the growing shadows. Once Alex secured the tent, he joined Desi, his gaze momentarily lingering on the map. Ever attentive, Desi placed the newspaper beside him on a makeshift table made from a blanket. Desi set the bread before Alex alongside the cheese and butter. It was a simple meal, yet it promised sustenance and comfort. "I believe we're done here," Desi said, her voice soft, a gentle caress in the quiet evening. Her eyes, bright with expectation, held Alex's gaze. But Alex's attention was momentarily stolen by a peculiar sight. All armed with shovels, men, women, and children marched towards the crossroads, their eyes fixed on the mysterious stone with a gaping hole at its center. "Sweetheart, I'm sorry," Alex said, turning back to Desi, his voice filled with wonder. "I was just..." His voice trailed off as he gestured towards the peculiar procession. "Do you think they're after the treasure, too?" Desi followed his gaze, her eyes taking in the diverse group united in their purpose. "Perhaps they know something we don't," she mused, her voice laced with curiosity. Alex shifted, the blanket rustling beneath him. "Maybe their map isn't as magical as ours. Let's wait and see what happens when the moon rises." His voice held a note of anticipation, a shared excitement with Desi. As if on cue, the last remnants of daylight faded, giving way to the encroaching night. Alex rose, his movements purposeful as he retrieved the oil lamp from the wagon. The lamp, a beacon in the darkness, was lit with a quick strike of a match against the rough fabric of his coveralls. Desi's eyes, like twin stars, shone as she gazed upwards. The night sky was a canvas of infinite beauty, dotted with countless stars, each a promise of untold stories. Yet, the moon, the elusive luminary, remained hidden, biding its time. Alex set the lamp on the wagon seat, its warm glow dancing in Desi's eyes. He rejoined her on the blanket, their shoulders touching, a silent bond between them. He checked his watch, a timepiece that had seen better days, and announced, "An hour and 10 minutes before the moon rises." The night sky unveiled its canvas early, a tapestry of darkness dotted with stars, their twinkling lights starkly contrasting with the impending gloom. Desi, weary from the day's endeavors, let out a soft sigh, her words carrying a hint of surrender. "Darn, over an hour before the moon rises." The oil lamp, a flickering sentinel, cast a warm glow, illuminating Desi's face and the quilt beneath her. Her hair, a cascade of shadows, fanned across the blanket, forming a silken frame around her features. Alex observed her, his gaze intense, and as the lamplight caressed her visage, something stirred within him. With a deliberate movement, he leaned forward, his shadow momentarily eclipsing the stars above. His eyes, mere inches from hers, mirrored the depth of his emotions. "Desi," he whispered, his voice thick with devotion, "you are the light in my darkness. I love you." Her heart, once steady, now hammered against her rib cage, each beat a testament to her awakening desire. She inhaled sharply, the scent of the oil lamp's fragrance mingling with the natural aroma of their surroundings. As Alex's words echoed in her mind, Desi felt a warmth spread through her, like the first rays of the sun on a cold morning. Desi lifted her head slowly, deliberately, her eyes never leaving his. Their lips met, gentle at first, then with growing enthusiasm. The embrace, a symphony of passion, spoke of love unspoken, a bond forged in the realm of the heart. As their kiss deepened, the world around them faded, leaving only the sensations of the moment, the taste of longing, the feel of love, and the infinite stars bearing witness to their private universe. The air was thick with anticipation as Alex's embrace suddenly loosened. Ever the gentleman, he respected Desi's wishes to wait, sensing her determination. Desi's body craved him, her breath coming in heavy gasps as she lay on the blanket, eyes shut tight, relishing the intense sensations he had awakened within her. Alex, a man of honor, found the strength to pull away. He stood, his voice husky with emotion. "Beauregard needs feeding. I'll return shortly." With deliberate steps, he moved towards the wagon's rear, pausing to gather himself, the night air cooling his passion. Soon, he returned, resuming his place on the blanket. Drawn to him like iron to a magnet, Desi snuggled close, laying her head on his shoulder. As she loosened her grip on his arm, he encircled her waist, a gesture of protection and affection. Despite the chill in the air, their love radiated warmth, a cocoon enveloping them. Exhausted from the evening's emotions, Desi slid down, resting her head on Alex's lap and gazing at the night sky. He, ever so tenderly, caressed her hair, whispering, "Rest, my love. I'll wake you when the moon rises." Desi, overcome with gratitude, kissed his hand. Sleep claimed her swiftly as she closed her eyes despite the swirling feelings. The night air was still, carrying the weight of anticipation as Alex watched the peculiar scene. Nestled beside him, Desi slept peacefully, her breath gentle against his skin. His fingers trailed through her soft locks, a tender gesture that betrayed the tension within him. Beyond Desi's sleeping figure, a peculiar sight unfolded. At the Y intersection, a group of diggers resembled an army, their shovels poised like weapons, ready for an unseen enemy. Alex's gaze shifted, taking in the otherworldly atmosphere near the burial grounds. A ghostly fog creeping over the hills seemed alive, its tendrils caressing the earth like a living thing. A shiver ran down Alex's spine, not from the cold but from the eerie glow that now emanated from the mist, illuminating the area around a solitary rock. Like a playful spirit, the fog danced before a large boulder, encircling the mysterious hole. Time seemed to stand still as he witnessed this ethereal display, his curiosity piqued. Alex's hand instinctively moved to his pocket, where his watch lay, ticking, a silent companion to the unfolding mystery. Gently, he shook Desi awake, his whisper carrying the weight of their shared adventure. "Desi, rise, the moon is almost up." Desi stirred, her eyes blinking away the remnants of sleep, confusion clouding her mind. She rubbed her eyes, trying to make sense of the bizarre scene before her. "The moon," Alex whispered, his breath warm against her ear, "will soon unveil its secrets." His lips brushed her cheek, a tender reassurance in the face of the unknown. Desi's gaze followed his, taking in the surreal image of the glowing fog now enveloping the large rock. "What is this place?" she asked, her voice trembling. Alex pulled her close, his embrace a shield against the night's mysteries. The moon's glow filtered through the canopy above, teasing them with its impending arrival. He felt the anticipation building, knowing that soon, the moon would break through, casting its divine light upon the earth. As if in response to their unspoken thoughts, the moon's rays pierced the fog, transforming it into a radiant spectacle. The once soft glow intensified, hitting the mist and creating a brilliant beam that shot through the hole in the rock, aiming directly for the Y intersection. The map, once ordinary, now reflected the moon's power, glowing with an otherworldly light. Desi, captivated by the scene, watched as the diggers, illuminated by the moon's circle of light, worked frantically. With a sudden realization, she broke free from Alex's embrace, her eyes alight with understanding. "The map," she exclaimed, "it's not a burial site of the treasure, but a guide. We must take the right path, not left, and continue our quest." Suddenly, as if someone had blown out the oil lamp, the fog and beam of light from the rock disappeared in a flash. Desiree looked in amazement at the crescent moon as it rose in the night sky, surrounded by the flickering stars. Alex quickly kissed Desiree and said, "We have to get up early tomorrow, so let's turn in for tonight." Desiree gathered all the items and put them in the wagon while Alex unhitched Beauregard from the wagon wheel, drove a stake into the ground, and tied it with a longer rope. After blowing out the oil lamp, Alex takes Desiree's hand, and both enter the tent, squatting down and crawling into the entrance. Beauregard lay down by the entrance with his head resting on his paw, his eyes slowly watching out for intruders while the two lovers slept. The golden rays of dawn bathed the forest as the adventurers embarked on their chosen path, leaving their fellow treasure seekers behind, each with their own routes to ponder. The old wagon creaked and groaned as it navigated the rocky trail, offering its occupants little comfort. Dust swirled around the wagon as they journeyed, the miles ticking by unnoticed in their eagerness to reach their destination. Suddenly, the landscape opened up before them, revealing a breathtaking vista. A massive hill loomed ahead, its steep slope plunging into a verdant valley below. A mysterious lake was nestled within this natural amphitheater, its waters shimmering with an eerie crimson glow under the morning sun. "Do you see that?" Desiree's voice quivered with a mixture of excitement and apprehension. Her blue eyes sparkled with curiosity as she took in the unusual sight. Alex's bushy eyebrows knit together in confusion, and he scratched his stubbled chin. "It's peculiar, indeed. I wonder what could be the cause of such an unusual hue." Desiree's heart raced as a theory began to form in her mind. She inched closer to Alex, the wood seat creaking under her shift. "I believe it's the presence of red clay, staining the water like blood." But her voice trailed off, her mind conjuring images of ancient legends and hidden secrets. Without warning, she sprang up, her determination evident in her actions. "Stop! Here, right now!" she cried, her voice echoing across the valley. The startled horse whinnied, its breath creating puffs of steam in the crisp morning air. Droopy, their faithful horse, responded to Alex's firm yet gentle tug on the reins, slowing the wagon to a standstill. Before the wagon halted, Desiree was already in motion, her fingers expertly locating the hidden map beneath the seat. She unfolded the parchment with deft movements, its edges frayed from countless touchings. Her eyes darted across the map's surface, passing over intricate landscape illustrations until they rested on a peculiar symbol, a red circle surrounded by 3 trees, with a crow's nest nestled at the top of one of the trees. "This way," she whispered, her voice carrying an air of certainty. "The answers lie at the lake, marked by the lone tree beside the road." The air was crisp with the promise of autumn's chill as Alex brought the wagon to a halt beside a towering pine, its branches reaching toward the lake's glassy surface. Desiree, dressed in a snug woolen sweater, allowed Alex to assist her from the wagon, her eyes immediately drawn to Alex's curious behavior. Alex shielded his eyes from the sun with a determined gaze, studying the upper reaches of the tree. Desiree, intrigued, approached him, her footsteps crunching over the pine needles. "What has captured your attention?" she asked, her voice hinting at playful curiosity. "Up there," he said, gesturing with his chin. "I see something, but it's too high to discern." Standing on her toes, Desiree rested her chin on his shoulder, her breath warm against his neck. "I see it too," she whispered, her voice laced with excitement. "Could it be a clue, a sign we've been seeking?" Alex turned, his eyes holding her gaze for a fleeting moment before gently kissing her. "One way to find out," he murmured, his voice filled with determination. With a swift move, he began his ascent, his strong arms and legs wrapping around the tree, climbing with the agility of a squirrel. Desiree watched, her heart pounding in her chest as Alex climbed higher and higher, vanishing into the dense foliage. Her breath caught as he disappeared from view. "Alex, are you all right?" she called out, her voice echoing off the lake's surface. Moments later, his face appeared, and a triumphant smile spread across his lips. "You were right, Desi. It's a crow's nest. I can see forever from here. Fetch the map and guide me." Desi dashed away, the wind whispering through her hair. She returned swiftly, the parchment in her hands. "I see the marker above the nest. It points southwest." Alex's eyes scanned the landscape, following the direction indicated by Desi. "The road leads to a grand structure, a house or a church, perhaps. I will check the map for more details." Desi's finger traced the parchment, her heart racing. A house with a well, marked with an X. Alex began his descent as she spoke, his swift movement causing a shower of pine needles and twigs to cascade down upon her. She shielded her eyes, catching a glimpse of him sliding down the tree, his eyes focused on the ground. Reaching the base, he grasped Desi's hand, pulling her towards the wagon. He sprang into action, driving with urgency, the wheels skidding on the grass as he made a sharp turn onto the road. Desi gripped the wagon's side, her knuckles white as they sped towards the house. "Alex, wait," she cried, her voice carrying a note of urgency. Alex slowed, his face a mask of concern. "What's wrong?" Desi pointed behind them, her smile widening. "Just Beauregard, our loyal companion, eager to keep up." Seeing their dog, tongue lolling, brought a burst of laughter from Alex, who shook his head, his eyes sparkling with amusement. With Beauregard safely in the wagon, chewing on a piece of beef jerky, they pulled up to an old abandoned church. It looked like a testament to a bygone era. The old well with the broken bucket winch sent a message to the travelers that it could cave in at any moment. Alex told Desi to stay on the wagon as he explored the stones of the well. After a while, he turned and told Desi to take a look at what the maps had drawn out. Desi studied it for a brief moment. "The map ends here. It only shows 10 small X's pointing away from the well, ending at a rock with the letters J.L on it. It appears to be heading due west." Alex knew the road went southwest, so he followed his instincts and headed to the side of the well, estimating it to be due east. There, he took 10 steps, coming up to a stone. Alex yelled to Desi, "I found the stone, but I don't see any initials." Desi thought for a second and yelled excitedly, "Well, my love," she said sarcastically, "turn it over and see if it is there." By this time, Desi could not stand it and joined Alex, glancing at the rock as he flipped it over. At first, they didn't see anything, but Desi leaned down, and with a handful of pine needles, he gently swept the dirt off the rock, revealing the letters on the map. Immediately, Alex began digging with his hands. He didn't have to dig far before his fingers encountered something stuck in the earth. He slowly scratched around the item until it was exposed enough for his finger to pull the trinket from its resting place. At first, it was just a clump of dirt, but with Desi's help and the pine needle brush, a brilliant gold bracelet appeared with gems in the middle of a cascade of gold. Desi gasped, and she examined the precious jewelry. Desi slipped the bracelet around her wrist, holding it to the sun. She looked down to say something to Alex, but he had gone to the wagon to fetch a shovel. When he returned, he told Desi, "This can't be all there is," digging again, this time with much more vigor. Desi sat on a nearby log and watched Alex dig deeper into the red clay. After a while, he had dug so deep she could not see him anymore, but she could watch the dirt fly into the air and onto a pile next to the hole. Suddenly, Desi heard a thump as the shovel hit something. Desi went to get up, but Alex emerged from the diggings before she could, carrying a small wooden box lined with metal in his hand and fixed with a small lock. "What is that?" Desi asked. Holding it up to the light, turning it every which way, Alex questionably said, "It looks like a treasure chest, but too small to hold much." Desi shifted on the log and held out her hands, "Let me see it. Let's find out what kind of mystery it contains." The air was heavy with anticipation as Alex passed the small chest to Desi. Its weight was not a problem for her tiny hands. With a determined glint in her eye, she selected a rock, its jagged edges promising destruction. Each blow resonated through the air, a sharp crack with every impact. Rust, old as time itself, surrendered to her will, the lock's defeat echoing across the room. With the lock broken, Desi's attention turned to the lid, sealed with such intent that it resisted her initial efforts. Sensing her struggle, Alex sat beside her, their legs brushing in silent camaraderie. Together, they willed the lid to open, revealing the secrets within. Desi's heart mirrored its rhythm as the lid creaked open, slowly unveiling the mysteries within. Her breath caught in her throat at the sight of a solitary key resting atop a folded piece of tin, its surface shimmering with leather and encased in a vibrant red ribbon. The key to their next adventure, perhaps. Desi extracted the key with delicate precision and handed it to Alex, the unraveling ribbon revealing a map of untold value. The leather, worn soft by time, unfolded like a storybook, each crease a chapter in a grand tale. They studied the map, their eyes tracing the paths that could lead to their destiny. Lafitte was a true pirate, Alex whispered, his voice laced with admiration and a hint of amusement. Always full of tricks. Desi's laughter rang out, a mix of excitement and relief. I thought we'd reached the final chapter, but our story continues. Alex's eyes sparkled with mischief. Maps can be deceiving, but we'll unravel this mystery. Together. With a gentle touch, he helped Desi to her feet, the key finding a home in his pocket, ready for the next lock. He was now entrusting the new map to Desi's care. The lake beckoned, its crimson surface shimmering under the sun like a pool of freshly spilled blood. Alex approached, curiosity beckoned. He dipped his hand into the water, expecting the stain of red, but the liquid that dripped from his fingers was clear as glass. A puzzled frown creased his brow as he shed his coveralls and boots, plunging naked into the lake. Desi, humming to herself as she arranged their gear, heard the splash and the excited barks of Beauregard. She turned, her eyes widening at seeing Alex in the blood-red water. A smile played on Desi's lips as she pulled her sweater over her head, her coveralls following suit. She stood there, a vision of beauty, her breasts exposed to the warm sun, before she ran towards the lake. Alex treads water, his eyes locked on Desi. Each bounce of her breasts as she ran sent a jolt of desire through him. She dove in, her body slicing through the water like a knife. Time seemed to stand still as he waited for her to surface. Panic began to rise, a cold tendril snaking up his spine. Finally, she emerged, her face inches from his. Water cascaded from her hair, dripping onto her eyelashes, making her blink. The droplets traced paths down her cheeks, her neck, and her breasts like a lover's caress. Alex felt a warmth spread through him, a primal hunger stirring in his belly. Her breasts pressed against his chest, and he could feel her heartbeat echoing his own. Their lips met in a fierce, passionate kiss, tongues dancing, exploring, tasting. He was losing control, his body aching with need. Desi could feel his manhood pressing against her, hard and insistent. She broke the kiss, a mischievous glint in her eyes as she dove back under the water. Alex took a deep breath, trying to calm his racing heart, but panic soon replaced desire as Desi did not resurface. Desi, he called out, his voice echoing over the lake. This isn't funny anymore. He scanned the surface, waiting, hoping, but the lake remained still. Fear gripped him, and he dove under, his eyes darting back and forth, searching for any sign of her. The water was clear and almost magical, but there was no sign of Desi. His heart pounded in his chest as he surfaced for air, only to dive back down again and again. Minutes passed, each one an eternity, as he searched, his heart sinking, his belly churning with dread. The lake, once a haven of desire, now threatened to become a watery grave for his beloved. Now tired, Alex was at the point of giving up when Desiree's voice suddenly echoed from the lake's far side. Alex snapped his head to the sound, and a sense of joy filled his heart as he stared at Desiree, waving a sword over her head. "Come here quick," she beckoned. Alex swam as fast as he could to reach her. When he reached her, he threw his arms around her with the strength that took her breath away. Desiree surrendered with surprise and could not believe what was happening. The tension between Alex and Desiree was palpable as the sun glinted off the water's surface, casting ripples of light across the shore. Desiree, her eyes gleaming with mischief, held up an ancient sword, its metal handle worn by time and its blade tarnished with rust. Alex's heart skipped a beat. His mouth opened to scold her, his voice laced with concern. "You nearly gave me a heart attack. How long were you holding your breath down there?" Desiree's gaze dropped, a mix of embarrassment and excitement on her face. "I lost track of time. I'm sorry. But look what I found." The sword glinted in her hand, a silent testament to her underwater discovery. "An old sword, huh? But how?" Alex's voice trailed off, his curiosity getting the better of him. Without saying a word, Desiree placed the sword on the bank, a gesture that spoke of hidden secrets and adventure. With a swift movement, she plunged back into the water, her body slicing through the surface, leaving a trail of bubbles behind. Alex, not wanting to be left behind, dove after her. The underwater world, a realm of silence and mystery, enveloped him. He followed the trail of her bubbles, his heart pounding with anticipation as they descended deeper. A cave's entrance loomed, a dark portal guarded by the silent sentinels of the deep. As they swam further, the darkness seemed to recede, revealing a surreal glow, a verdant hue that danced across the cave's walls. Alex's mind raced, conjuring up images of hidden treasures and forgotten legends. The deeper they ventured, the more the cave seemed to welcome them, its stalactites reaching like guardians of ancient secrets. Breaching the surface, they emerged into a surreal realm. The cavern's stalactites, like emerald fingers, seemed to beckon them forward. On the shore, a treasure trove awaited, a chest brimming with the spoils of forgotten battles, its contents glinting in the dim light. Above, a tattered yet defiant flag bore the iconic symbol of skull and crossbones, a silent reminder of the mysteries beneath the surface. In the middle sat a large wooden chest, bonded together with metal strips and secured by a large lock. The damp cave air clung to Desiree's skin as she ascended the rocky bank, her bare feet finding purchase on the uneven ground. Each step brought her closer to the pirate chest, its wooden surface weathered and mysterious. She brushed aside the swords and armor with determination, her eyes never leaving the chest. And there, in the flickering light, Desiree sat, her naked form a stark contrast to the cold, hard metal surrounding her. Her long, gold hair cascaded over her shoulders, a wild contrast to the serene expression on her face. Alex observed, captivated by her every move. He witnessed the transformation within her, the abandonment of modesty as she held the massive lock, a symbol of secrets waiting to be discovered, with her eyes sparkling with curiosity. The cave seemed to hold its breath in anticipation. In a swift motion, Desiree reached for a dagger, the stalactites glinting off its sharp edge. She turned it over in her hands, preparing to use it as a tool. But Alex's voice, thick with urgency, broke the silence. "Wait, Desiree, not like that." She froze, her brows furrowing in confusion. "Why ever not? What's the harm in opening it?" "I want to see inside as much as you do, believe me," Alex replied, his voice laced with excitement. "But I have the key in my coveralls, don't you remember?" "Wait, dear Desiree, I'll be right back," his voice carrying a promise as he vanished beneath the rippling surface. Left alone, Desiree's thoughts drifted to the enigmatic lady from the market, her words echoing in the cave's solitude. "Adventures and desires unknown." Desiree whispered, the crystals around her glistening as if in agreement. The anticipation of the chest's secrets mingled with the memories, leaving Desi poised between the past and the promise of the future. The dimly lit cave echoed with the soft patter of dripping water, a haunting melody that seemed to seep into the very bones of those within its depths. Shivering in the damp air, Desi became acutely aware of her exposed skin, the goosebumps rising as if in protest against the chill. Suddenly, Alex reappeared. With a swift movement, she caught the shirt Alex tossed her way, its fabric rough against her palms, before she pulled it over her head. The warmth of the wet cotton offered a small solace. Alex joined Desi on the elevated bank in his cut-off long johns, the key to the mysterious chest dangling from his fingers. He remained motionless, his eyes fixed on the pirate's wooden container as if it held some untold secrets he was hesitant to uncover. Desi, growing impatient with his silence, leaned close, her breath forming visible clouds in the cold air. "It's freezing in here," she urged, her voice hinting at frustration. "Let's open it." Alex seemed torn, his gaze shifting from the chest to Desi, the desire to maintain their connection warring with his curiosity. But Desi, driven by an innate sense of adventure, reached out, her fingers closing around the key. With a swift, decisive motion, she inserted it into the lock, turning it with a satisfying click. As the lid began to rise, Alex's hesitation vanished. Together, they witnessed the chest's interior, but it was not the expected treasure that caught their attention. The chest, lined with velvet as red as fresh blood, seemed to pulse with otherworldly energy. The contents, an assortment of jewelry and gems, sparkled in the dim light, each casting a rainbow of colors across the cave's walls. The air crackled with anticipation, the crystals embedded in the cave's walls reflecting the light to create a mesmerizing display. Desi and Alex, their breaths caught in their throats, stared in awe at the revelation of secrets long hidden in the darkness that would forever change their lives. The air hung heavy with anticipation as Desi, driven by an unseen force, got to her knees before the chest. Her fingers, trembling with excitement, reached into the trove of riches, extracting a handful of coins and gems that shimmered in the dim light. As each treasure slipped through her fingers, a silent rain of opulence fell back into the chest, a testament to her disinterest in material wealth. Alex, standing nearby, witnessed her delight with a mixture of emotions. He remained rooted, his body rigid, as if each coin were a weight pulling him deeper into the earth. Then, with a sudden movement that mirrored the ripples on the water's surface, he turned and vanished beneath the rippling pool. "Alex!" Desi's voice echoed across the water, her words carrying the weight of surprise and concern. But the only response was the gentle lapping of waves against the shore. She stood, her eyes scanning the water, her heart drumming with confusion. Why would he leave so abruptly? Uncertainty clouded her features as she dove into the lake, her arms slicing through the water urgently. Her mind raced, a vortex of thoughts swirling like the eddies she left in her wake. Was it something she'd said, or had the chest, the promise of wealth, driven him away? Breaking the surface, she found herself in a world of mist and mystery. A fog clung to the lake, obscuring her vision, but she knew Alex was there. Her eyes, keen and alert, spotted him, a sad figure caressing Beauregard on the wagon's edge. Desi's heart skipped a beat at the sight. She swam with renewed vigor, her strokes eating up the distance between them. Climbing onto the bank, she wasted no time, her feet barely touching the ground as she raced towards Alex. As she drew closer, Desi's steps slowed. She saw his shoulders shaking, his back heaving with silent sobs. Taking a deep breath, she approached, her footsteps soft against the dew-kissed grass. Sensing her presence, Alex fixed his gaze on the ground, his tears forming tiny pools on the wagon's weathered wood. Desi stood before him, her hand reaching out, a silent plea for him to look at her. When he finally did, she saw a deep sorrow that tore at her heart. "My dearest, what is wrong?" Desi's voice was soft, her eyes brimming with concern. Have I, in my ignorance, caused you pain? Alex's eyes flickered at her words, a silent storm within them. It was the cave and the treasure, he began, his voice hoarse with emotion. Seeing you there, so radiant, I feared you had found a new love, one that would render me obsolete. Desi's eyes widened, her heart aching at his words. She cupped his face in her hands, her thumbs wiping away the tears that threatened to spill. My love, she whispered, her voice carrying a lifetime of devotion, you are my treasure. A chest of gold could never replace what we have. Alex's body relaxed as her words washed over him, his heart opening like a flower to the sun. He pulled her close, their embrace a sanctuary from the doubts that had plagued them. The sky above seemed to mirror the turmoil within Alex as dark clouds gathered, mirroring the storm in his soul. Desi's presence, a warm beacon amidst the fog, drew him out of his despair. Oh, Alex, she murmured, her breath warm against his ear, the treasure I seek lies not in gold or gems but in the warmth of your embrace, the beat of your heart against mine. Her voice, laced with a sensual promise, sent shivers down his spine. Desi's hands, soft and delicate, traced the lines of his face, wiping away the remnants of his tears. Her touch was like a healing balm, soothing his raw emotions. As she leaned in, her lips brushed his, a gentle caress that ignited a fire within. The kiss deepened, and Alex tasted the sweetness of her desire, a flavor that left him craving more. Alex pulled back slightly, Desi's eyes glittered with a passion that rivaled the gems in the chest. Let me show you, my love, that the greatest treasure is between us. Her hands, skilled and confident, began to unlace his shirt, each movement deliberate, a dance of seduction. The fabric fell away, bearing Alex's chest to the cool air and Desi's hungry gaze. Her fingers traced the contours of his muscles, mapping his body with a lover's touch. She leaned forward, her lips trailing kisses across his collarbone, each touch sending sparks of pleasure through his veins. Alex's hands, terminated with the need to touch her, found the buttons of her shirt, and with swift, eager movements, he freed the damp fabric from her body. Desi's shirt slithered to the ground, revealing skin as smooth as silk and curves that begged to be explored. Their lips met again, hungrier this time, as if they were feasting on each other's essence. Desi's hands roamed freely, exploring the planes of his back and the contours of his hips, while Alex's fingers traced the line of her spine, eliciting soft moans of pleasure. Desi guided him towards the soft grass. Desi's body was a beckoning invitation. As they lay amidst the verdant foliage, the mist curling around them, Desi positioned herself atop Alex, her legs straddling his hips. Her movements were graceful, a dance of desire, as she began to move against him, a slow rhythm that built in intensity. Their love echoed across the lake, mingling with the gentle lapping of waves. Alex's hands gripped her hips, guiding her movements, their bodies moving as one, a perfect symphony of passion. As their union reached its climax, the world seemed to shatter around them, the mist dissolving into a million sparkling fragments. In the aftermath, they lay entangled, hearts still pounding, their breath mingling. My love, my treasure, Alex whispered, his voice hoarse with emotion. You are the wealth I've sought, the joy that fills my every waking moment. Desi smiled, her eyes sparkling with love and satisfaction. Together, my dear Alex, we shall create a fortune beyond measure comparable to the world's riches. The morning sun bathed the dusty road in a warm glow, casting shadows behind the wagon as it trundled northward, away from the enigmatic Red Lake. Nestled beside her beloved Alex, Desi felt the rhythm of his heartbeat against her cheek, a soothing cadence filling her with a sense of calm. The wagon creaked as it navigated the rugged terrain, each bump and sway bringing the two lovers closer, their bodies almost intertwined in the confines of the seat. Alex finally spoke, his gaze fixed on the path ahead, breaking the comfortable silence. Desi, he began, his voice tinged with uncertainty, are we making the right choice? The treasure could be the key to our future, to making our dreams a reality. His words hung in the air, carrying a weight that Desi could feel. Without shifting her position, Desi lifted her eyes, her gaze meeting his. "Alex," she replied, her voice soft yet resolute, "you are my dream come true. What we have, this love, this adventure, is more than enough. No treasure can replace this." Her eyes sparkled with determination, and Alex's doubt seemed to melt away under her unwavering gaze. Desi released her hold on Alex's arm, her fingers gently caressing his skin as she moved towards the back of the wagon. "I'll rest for a bit," she said, her voice hinting at fatigue. "The journey ahead is long, and I want to be ready to take over the reins when you need a break." "Of course, my love," Alex replied, his eyes still on the road, his hands firmly gripping the reins. "Rest well, we still have a way to go before we reach Daphne." Desi settled beside Beauregard, the loyal companion who had witnessed their adventure from the beginning. She gazed at Alex's broad back, straight and strong, guiding them forward. With a subtle movement, Desi reached into her shirt pocket, her fingers brushing against the soft fabric. She extracted a well-worn handkerchief. Unfolding it carefully, she revealed a shimmering spectacle of gold coins, each a miniature sun, reflecting the morning light, and gems of every hue, sparkling like fragments of a rainbow. A smile played upon Desi's lips as she gently gathered the treasures, her fingers brushing against the cool metal and the smooth facets of the gems. These were not just coins and jewels, they were pieces of their shared history, each carrying a memory of their journey. Swiftly, she placed them in a worn sack, along with the 2 pirate maps, faded from frequent unfolding, their edges worn and creased. These maps had guided them through uncharted territories and now served as a tangible link to their shared past. Desi's heart swelled with contentment as the wagon continued its steady progress. She knew that the treasure they sought was not just gold and gems but something far more valuable, a life shared with the one you love, an adventure filled with memories to cherish.